Hi, David Odell here. We have a new tool we're going to be testing out here, cutting a concrete floor in the house. And this is it, the Medusa from Skillsaw. We just got it out of the box. The way it starts, when it's in the box or you're transporting it, real simple to use. You don't need a lot of tools. Everything you need is right here. I just kind of took a brief look at it, and we've got this. That's basically a little screwdriver here, and what that is for, when you open this back up, now you're ready to cut, if you have a blade in there, but that's the position you'll be in when you're cutting. Now this tool here is for your water hookup. This is your water sprayer nozzle. This is where you would hook your water hose to, and this is your control valve. So where you put this item, also here's your vacuum adapter. So you can cut dry or wet. We're going to be cutting wet today. We're going to be cutting dry today. This is your guide to follow your line. These tires are a soft rubber, very soft, which is nice for when you're rolling over things. It's going to go over it without skidding. So let's take a look at this. Now we're going to lay this down, lay this sideways. We've raised the guard up a little bit. Put this in. Goes right here. There's your set screw. Here's your nozzle. Your blade would be right in between both sides of this nozzle, so it's spraying both sides of the blade. Now, if you want to keep it there, just tighten this little set screw here. Okay, that's in place. Now, set it back upright position. Your nozzle here has just connects wherever you want it to. Now you hook your water hose to it. Now you have control over your flow rate right here. Quick coupling release. Screw that on your hose or anything, even a pump up sprayer. Boom, that's ready to go. So let's see what we got to do here. All we have to do is put the blade on, and we're going to take it inside, hook up our dry vac. We've already put this on. This is very easy to put on because it's just a simple, it's all hand, so you don't have to waste a lot of time looking for tools. Everything's right here. Now this whole unit fits in this nice pack right here, the whole package. Then you've got your accessories. You got some extra blades put in here, other little items, but that's a nice carrying bag, and it all fits right in there nice and neat. Anyway, we're going to be giving one of these away. Key phrase to win this is going to be, I want the Medusa from Skillsaw. And in order to get into the drawing, what you have to do is subscribe, share, and like. And then we're going to select a winner from if you fall into that category. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. This is it. This is the new tool. Hi, David Odell. We're inside the room that we're going to be removing with the new Medusa. Here's the crack. Apparently when they're sitting in here, the TV's there on the wall, couch is here. So in this area right here, they were feeling it even through the carpet. It was becoming a trip hazard, and you can tell why, because just in this little 6 foot, we're about 3/4 off. Look at that. So basically what happened here is at this crack, it actually heaved. So we're going to take this slab out and put a straight slope across it to knock out this hump. Let's take a look over here. There's actually even more cracking on this end. This end's fairly flat though, but you can see here by these cracks here, they happen to be right around the fireplace. And the reason for that is these fireplaces, because it's a brick chimney, and these footings are massive underneath these. They're like 3 or 4 feet deep, and that's a lot of weight. So it's separating from the rest of the house because it's totally separate, independent foundation. So that's the problem there. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave that. We're going to try to leave the hearth, even though this concrete is poured on top of this slab. But I think from the looks of this crack right here, we might be able to slip this out from underneath it without having to disturb that. And you can see on this side too, the crack is right about here. So it's only underneath this hearth about 4 inches. So what we'll try to do is just slip it out from underneath there without disturbing this. Then what we'll do to prevent this from moving anymore is we'll key it underneath the concrete slab once we expose it. And then if we can, we'll also put some rebar dowels in all the way around. But we're gonna remove half of this floor in here, looks to me like. All right, let's get down to business. This is all right. We're getting the plastic put up right now. We're going to try to contain any dust because we're not sure how much dust that the vacuum is going to draw out of this unit because we've never used it before. So we're going to seal everything off, make sure that we contain any dust that may escape this room. Here's some chalk lines going down, and we're using red. Normally I would use blue if it was a finished product because blue you can wash off, but red you can't, and this will be covered with tile eventually. But yeah, that Medusa, if you cut concrete, and you can see how straight these lines are, and I didn't even use a guide on it. I just freehanded this. The Medusa rolls really straight, the straightest thing I've ran ever. And I've been running them quite a while. So this was a good test to see how straight it ran for me. Now I know that I could actually use this saw on finished product decorative cutting in, you know, driveways, patios, whatever it may be, and I know that it's going to be straight without doing a lot of extra work with guides and stuff like that. This saw was well thought out, I would have to say. It's really designed for concrete, no doubt. It drew all the dust in. There was none that escaped. But this is your 70-pound Makita that I had just repaired, and I actually did a video on this Makita, on the extension cord and the plug itself. I replaced the plug and cut the cord back, put a new switch in it, and this is our first test here, and it's working like a charm. We figured out pretty quickly what caused this concrete to crack and what we're not going to do again. There's no point in tearing something out and to replace it the same way you removed it. So what we're going to do is we're going to thicken it because this is only about 2.5 to 3 inches thick. That was one problem. The other problem is there's no steel reinforcement. And I think it was a very low PSI, maybe about a 2,000 PSI. So we're going to go 3250 PSI. And we're going to put some fiber mesh in there. We're going to put 3/8 rebar and 2-foot centers. And we're going to go 5 inches deep. Now, they had some plastic under here, but the old code was, I believe it was a 4 mil back when this was done. And now it's a 6 mil, so that's going to make a little difference. We're going to put some 6 mil plastic in here. Hi, David Odell here. This is the end of day 1, and We didn't know what we were going to get into on this job until we really started breaking the concrete, because you know, before we put something back in, we have to try to figure out what caused it to do that, because there's no point putting something back in if you haven't really figured out what caused it to begin with. So we figured out what caused this to break by breaking it out, and we've determined that it was only about 2.5, 3 inches thick. That was one problem with the whole design that was here. And the other problem was there's no steel reinforcement in this thing. So I think if we had 4 inches of concrete, we had some steel reinforcement, we wouldn't be doing this right now. So that's how we're gonna fix it. We've thickened the edge. We've thickened this to 5 inches thick. Also, what we did is we keywayed underneath the entire existing slab. And then also what we're going to do is we're going to drill in rebar all the way around here. And we're going to put concrete glue around the entire perimeter. We're going to put 6 mil plastic under here. They had about a 3 mil under here, and it was still intact. But the codes have changed a lot since this was initially built in 1963, I believe. So now it's 6 mil, it's rebar or wire mesh. But they did have some sand in here, which is nice. Kind of surprising to see. They had sand over the visqueen, and so a lot of this stuff was done pretty close to what it is today, but the depth, no steel, that's the key. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you on pour. All right, looks like I covered that pretty well, and now here we are drilling the holes. This is a 3/8 diameter drill bit, a 4-pronger. We're going to drill them in about 4 to 5 inches. And then I've cut these dowels to about 18 inches long. And I'm just going to drive them in with this 8-pound single jack. And it's a real tight fit. You can't pull those out, in other words. Now on this plastic, we're going to cut this to the exact size, and we're going to tuck it underneath that keyway. And just to ensure that moisture can't come up through this floor around the perimeter where the two adjoin, we're going to put some concrete glue on the existing. Now, if you notice those rebar dowels, how there's more in some places and less in other places, the reason for that is every section I seen a crack in, I wanted to get 2 dowels at least on each section that was cracked. That way they can't twist and turn anymore. Hi, David Odell here with Odell Complete Concrete. This is day 2 on a wrap up, and this is ready for concrete. That'll be day 3. We've got 6 mil plastic in here. We have 3/8 rebar dowels every 2 to 4 feet. I strategically place these dowels on either side of cracks to kind of hook everything up together and connect one side of the house to the other side of the house. And that's the idea. Also, we're going to put concrete glue around the entire perimeter just before we pour. And we're using a high PSI concrete mix as well in here. Alright, here's the glue we're using. We happen to get that at Thompson's in Orange. What I did is I dumped it into a 5-gallon bucket so I could dip my brush real easily, and then I just slapped it on there generously. What I'm trying to do here, I'm working the glue into the cracks and crevices because I don't really want to miss anything. I want to get 100% coverage with this. Here we are pumping it out, some 3250 straight sack cement, no fly ash. And we added 2 pounds of fiber mesh to the 3-yard pour. We have a 12-foot aluminum rod board. straight as an arrow. As we place the concrete, we actually hand tuck the concrete underneath that keyway. We actually jammed the concrete under with the end of the hand float and the shovel as we placed it, to make sure that we push the air out from underneath and we got 100% concrete locking in underneath the existing. This is a modified wood bowl float. It started as a 4-footer and I cut it down to about a 3-footer. Now, as we went over this by hand, I noticed some deviations in the floor a little bit more. So I brought out the straight edge again to kind of fine tune and cut this thing one more time. And you'll see that up and coming. Oh, by the way, also we're going to be announcing within this video the Ariat boot winner from a previous video. Here's the fiberglass funny float. This concrete is going off really well, even though it's indoors on top of plastic. Because of the high cement ratio we've got in here, there's no real bleed water to speak of. And that's a good thing. Here's that 12-footer I just broke out. I felt a couple high spots when I ran. As I ran all my tools over it, I felt a couple deviations in this. So I just cross-checked everything and just restroked the whole unit and dragged up a little bit of cream here and there and disposed of it. Wasn't a whole lot, just a couple shovelfuls. Now this is how I burn in the edges. First of all, what I have to do is scrape the existing very clean. That way when I push my trowel over it, I can go flat down on existing and the new concrete simultaneously, tying the two in perfectly flat. So I got my multi-purpose tool here, my 5x12, which is the double square, which is excellent for burning, stucco, a lot of things. And then I've got my 20x5, and that's just my follow-up unit right there. Also, that 20x5. In a pinch, you could actually shave with it. So you can see how you scrape the existing off. That way when you run across the two simultaneously, you get a perfectly flush surface. And now since I put glue around the perimeter and I slopped it around on the surface, if there's any holes near on that existing to the new pour, I can go ahead and cream them in with this and it's going to bond really nicely. So what we end up having on this particular floor is the backbone. Hi, David Odell here. We just wrapped up this pour. The living room was in bad shape and now it's flat and it's solid because what we did was we went 5 inches deep We used 3250 PSI, which will probably break at 4,000 or above in 28 days. Went really well. We keyed underneath the whole slab all the way around. We used a bonding agent around the perimeter. And now we have a hard trowel finish. And you can see how tight these edges are. When we go with that high PSI, it means it's not going to shrink. So that means this border around this whole perimeter is going to stay nice and tight without opening up. So that's the beauty of it. Anyway, it's ready for tile. Thanks for watching. See you later. The winners for the skate plate and water kit attachment are Remy Lauren and Spider X92. Those are the two winners. If you didn't get one and you want one, I'm going to put the link within the description of this video, so you'll be able to get to that website and purchase one if you want one. Thanks for watching.